Hi, everybody. How are you? It's Alison, your kitchen and bath kitchen and bath design coach and mentor. So, I love talking about everything kitchen and bathroom. And when I'm seeing posts in Facebook and questions asked out there, I decide I want to talk about something. And today I decided I want to talk about tall cabinetry. Now, some of us are experienced kitchen designers and we understand what a spec book is and what how a cabinet is constructed, but often in my group and I want interior designers to understand how the cabinetry works. And because it's something that they don't do or very often don't get involved with and maybe turn it over to a cabinet person to do, my goal is to make the designers and new kitchen designers understand how that kitchen cabinetry is built and how it gets constructed, because I see a disconnection and some mistakes when it comes to tall cabinetry. For instance, somebody just had a problem with the cabinet wouldn't tip into place because it didn't tip into place because you must learn the rule of thumb. Your cabinet has to be 3 inches at least away from the ceiling. And if you want to get more technical with it, there are mathematical calculations on how high you can go with that tall pantry cabinet. But you want to make sure that you are ordering cabinetry that stays in the standard increments of 3. So always increments of 3, keeping certain standard measurements aware of that don't that's where you start from. So you start from these basic measurements and then you can alter it from there. But kitchen designers and kitchen cabinetry is specified in 3-inch increments. It's very important to remember that it is the 3-inch increments and it starts the height of, are 30 inches high, 33 inches high, 36 inches high, 42 inches high. So when we're designing cabinetry and an elevation, you work in your elevation, you're working with your overall height, and you're going to pick a height that is in increments of 3. The typical height of a wall cabinet starts at 84 inches high. But let's say you want all your upper cabinets to be you have 96 inches and you say, I'm going to hang all my cabinets to 90 inches because that's my increments of 3. The tall cabinets come 84, 87, 90, 93, 96. And then they start getting taller. So they're always increments of 3 going from starting at 84 going to 96. And then now with everybody going all up tall, we're going to not talk about the 9-foot cabinets. Okay. We're not talking about that. Just going 96. So we have a 96-inch high ceiling. You need at least 3-inch clearance to be able to take that tall cabinet and tip it into place, because it's going to have a high point here and you need clearance for it to tip and clear the ceiling and get into place. Okay, so if you have a 96-inch high ceiling, you never, ever, ever order a 96-inch tall cabinet to go in there. You order something smaller, shorter. Increments of 3 is where you start. The person couldn't tip in the tall cabinet. The solution: cut the toe kick off. You cut the toe kick off and you file the edges and make it look good and rework that toe kick in, because you got no choice. You got to get the cabinet in. So you cut the toe kick, gives you the extra 3 inches you should have left to begin with, and then you can tip it into place. And then you put in your toe kick, and then that would fit. But you got to know these things ahead of time. So understanding a tall cabinet and how it works and how you put it in there and how it's built and the different configurations of it is very important, because designers want to say, oh, I want to put in a tall pantry cabinet, but they don't know, well, what is the configuration of a tall cabinet? How is that built? What are my options? And I'll show you in a minute what I'm talking about. And that's why I always say it's really important to get your hands on a vendor spec book. So I'm going to share a vendor spec book. I'm going to go with the frameless. Let's see, I'm going to share it. I want to make sure, okay, we can see it. That's what I want to make sure, that you can see it. Where's my, I had a split screen. Let me just double check. So let me go to page, here, 32. I just want to show you another thing about the cabinetry that you have to be very careful that you don't specify the Tokic space when you're doing cabinetry, okay? Because that is a measurement that is adjustable, and it varies from manufacturer to manufacturer. In frameless cabinets, you have a option for an adjustable toe kick, and that adjusts from anywhere from 3 3/4 to 5 3/4. Okay, so you never dimension this, call out this toe kick, because it's determined by the cabinet brand, and no two brands are the same. But unless you have a specific need for a certain height of a toe kick, you leave the toe kick area adjustable. The main thing is on the base cabinet, it's 34.5 inches box. And on a tall cabinet, it's 84 inches high box. Don't call out the number and the height of the toe kick space. I'm seeing this as a problem in a few instances, and it's like, that's one dimension, you leave it alone. It's not important. What's more important is the overall height of our cabinetry, 34 inches high. And then here it's going to break it down, and it's going to tell you it's got the 24-inch door and a 6-inch drawer front. So, and the next height for a vanity, 31.5 inches high. See, increments of 3, 31.5 plus 3 is 34.5. And this is just showing this manufacturer's example of what the drawer options are and the sizes of them based on their standard catalog offering. So if you're designing a base cabinet, and I'm showing you this because these base cabinets can become part of what the options are for a tall cabinet, okay, because they're basically taking standard measurements and just adding the sides and building it a little bit different, the tall cabinetry. But for the most part, the bottom section can be drawers or doors. If they're drawers, they can be split up in different ways. Main thing being, don't forget about this toe kick measurement, but it's 34.5. Okay, if you want these two to be equal, you write equal. And the reason one says 12 1/8 and the other one says 11 7/8 has to do with the overhang of the door front on the box. So this drawer front on this box is a little bit deeper because you have to make up for the reveal between the two cabinet drawers. And that's where it gets really technical. And that's when I start talking about this, and all the designers are like, oh my gosh, you're going too fast. But this is what kitchen designers and cabinet builders think of. Now, here's what a tall cabinet is. It's not a base cabinet plus a wall cabinet. It's a tall cabinet built as one item. It is in increments of 3, starting at 84, 87, 90, 93, and 96. Your configuration is going to be short on top. It can be anywhere it starts. So if you get an 84-inch cabinet, it's going to be 19 inches on the top and always 60.5 inches on the bottom. So the measurement for the height increase starts at the top cabinet. So it's going to go 84 would have a 19-inch tall door. 87 would have your 21-inch, always increments of 3. So starting with 19. Okay, so that's what that cabinet would look like. Then you have an option to have it split this way. Then you have an option for drawers. But it's always one cabinet. And typically, this measurement, the top drawer, equals the 34.5. So that when these cabinets are all lined up, your drawer fronts are all at the same height. So your base, a budding base cabinet is going to be meeting up the same thing here. See, 29 and 15/16, that's taking into consideration the 16th of an inch reveal between the door on the top and the door on the bottom. So basically, again, if we take 30 plus this one is 4.5, it's 34.5. These bottom line up with the base cabinet standard height of 34.5. And again, at the top, that's where it can get a little tricky because it doesn't always line up with the wall cabinets. But the base cabinets typically line up. So here's all the configurations of your different tall cabinets with drawers, a door, but see how it's built three-dimensionally with a full side? It's one whole box, one whole cabinet. The next thing to look at when you have these 42, yeah, I did that. 42, we did, so we talked about that. When you have this, you need to, so these are like your standard, a tall cabinet. You would put adjustable shelves in there, or you could put your rollouts in there. You could have your pantry accessories on there. You could have all kinds of accessories inside of that pantry cabinet. However or it could be all for brooms, a broom storage. So let's get to this page. Tall cabinets. Look at the different types of tall cabinets. You have a broom cabinet, and this is a spec book, and it'll tell you what it have. You could have a broom cabinet with no adjustable shelves, with adjustable shelves, or with 4 rollouts. And the broom cabinet is tall on the bottom, shorter doors on the top. Reverse broom is short on the bottom and taller on the top. And again, you can have adjustable shelves and all these things that it comes with. And then you have a broom cabinet with a full height doors, broom cabinet with equal height doors, with adjustable shelves, with no adjustable shelves, or a pantry unit. Then you get into your tall cabinets with appliances, a single oven cabinet, double oven cabinet, oven and a microwave cabinet, oven, micro, and warming drawer cabinet. Now, these, again, are built as one whole cabinet, and it's going to have a cutout. So all these cabinets are available in the vendor's catalog. So we could say, here we're going to have all the specs from this vendor. And can I zoom in a little bit? So they're going to tell you what's included. The width, this is how you read the SKU, is BC 12121284, which translates to broom cabinet, 12 inches wide, 12 inches deep, 84 inches high. Okay, this number is not standard. It might be written in another vendor as just a B, not a BC, but the width always comes first, always, in every cabinet, it's the width. So their broom cabinet might be 1284-12, could be 12 inches wide, by 84 high by 12 inches deep. So the deep and the height can be interchangeable depending on the manufacturer. But as long as you write it out and you say 12 inches wide, 12 inches deep, 84 inches high, that's what the vendor needs to know. So these are guideline things, but the width always comes first. But your depth and your height can sometimes change by the vendor, but the numbers don't change. It's still telling you it's 84 inches high by 12 inches deep. You can change modifications. Let me get down, scroll. So here's a single cabinet, broom cabinet. What's this one? Let me scroll here. Sometimes when you go live, it doesn't. So here again, we're reiterating our cabinetry. And it's going to break down the pricing for the cabinetry. And this is just this manufacturer's price. That's not with your specific finish and your wood species and your door style all gets added into this price. So they're a costly cabinet. But anyway, here's your cabinet. Let's get to our appliance cutouts, which is on 4. So here would be your appliances, okay? Now, you have to remember when you are specifying an appliance in your kitchen for your customer, you need to know the appliances ahead of time before you start specifying anything. Now, let's say you have a wall cabinet. You're going to, a wall oven, okay? It's one unit. You have to say, here they're letting you know on their spec that they have a 4.5-inch toe kick, and you have to indicate from the floor to the counter or to the bottom of the appliance or to the cutout. I'm sorry, I can't really don't have my glasses on. Maybe I'll make this a little bigger. Okay, so you're going to have it. It has your from the floor to the cutout, and then you need your cutout height, and then the remaining becomes the door height. Okay, so you have your width, which is standard, but these measurements can fluctuate. Okay, it's not telling you it needs to be a certain cutout from the floor. You need to know as a designer that the minimum height for an appliance from the floor is 15 inches. So you don't put your bottom of your appliance at 10 inches below the floor. They say 15 inches above the floor, and then you start your appliance. But you know what? If you wanted to make it lower or whatever, you can. The guideline is 15 inches off the floor. Think about it opening up that range, and then if you're going to have it right against the floor, that would be in a base cabinet. But if you want it up higher, you're putting it in a tall cabinet. So you want it to be at least 15 inches off the floor. But here you can line it up with the countertop. So it can be 34 inches from the floor, but you don't want to go any higher than 48 off the floor. You want to keep these as low as possible so that they're easy to access. Think about the ergonomics of using that appliance. And then you give your cutout width. So you have your cabinet height, and then you have your bottom height of the appliance, then the doors above it. And let's go to a double. So see what it looks like? It's one whole cabinet. Why is that different? That's with a drawer below it. Oh, they're going to sneak in a sneak drawing. Hold on a minute. I'm going crazy, I tell you. So that's what that cabinet would look like. Okay, it looks like that. Frustrating with the what? Oh. Glitchy. I'm getting glitchy here. What's with the glitches? Oh, 450. I don't want that. I was at 4. Oh my gosh, the stupid, I'm having technical difficulties. 491. Okay, so we have this cabinet. That's this one. So it looks like this. Stay. It looks like this, the cabinet, and that's where your appliance is going to go. Could be a coffee maker. It could be a wall oven. It could be a microwave oven. It could be a speed oven. It's just a cabinet that houses a wall appliance. Okay. So it's one whole box and you're sliding in the appliance. It's not a bottom and then a middle piece where the appliance goes and then a top cabinet there. So how do I specify that? Here, that's where we get into our cutout. And we're going to call this information out so that our cabinet person knows exactly how high you want it to be, because it could be that you're only doing, where you want everything to line up. It's so annoying that this is like just not get in the screen where I want you to be. So that's how you have to figure out that tall cabinet rather. Let's go to the next one. Go slowly, very, very slowly. Now we have a double appliance. And a double appliance, see, it's going to bring it down lower because you don't want it to be up too high. So they bring it down lower, and you're going to have a drawer on the bottom. Okay, so if you have a double oven, this is what it's going to come to. It's going to come looking like that. They're going to say we're going to have a drawer on the bottom and 2 doors on the top, and you're going to slide your appliance in there. And this is what this drawing would look like. They're going to want a drawing from you, and whether it's, so you, even if you think, you want to just give it to your cabinet person, you need to figure this stuff out ahead of time. You can't just say you do it, because look at the questions that need to be answered. Look at the decisions that need to happen. And you as a designer want to take the time of what you want the cutouts to line up to. Maybe you want all your wall cabinet lines to match. Or maybe you want this to come to a certain height on your countertop. So you got to call this out to your cabinet spec person, and you got to let them know that this is, because there would be a cutout sheet that would go with it. And you're going to write Samsung micro oven combo, right? Combo oven, 30 wide by 54 high, or whatever the specs are. You're going to write it right in the open area of your appliance. What's more important is what you write here, rather than you drawing in a pretty, a pretty picture of, a pretty picture of something, like just, oh, it looks pretty. This is what the door is going to look like. So what's this one? And then this one would be your microwave and a warming drawer, right? Oven, microwave, and warming drawer. So you have a warming drawer, the wall oven, and microwave, right? So you're going to have your different area sections of where this is what it looks like. Again, you're going to slide in your microwave and slide in the range and slide in the warming drawer. So it's all built as one cabinet. I think that's the most important thing to realize, is that it's built as one entire cabinet. And then it comes along with a drawing that goes with it, like this, saying my cutout for my microwave, my cutout for my oven, and my cutout for my warming drawer. And you have to indicate from the floor to the bottom of the cutout. Okay, you need to indicate these things and tell them. Then from the floor to the bottom of the cutout of your oven. So all this stuff has to be specified, and you must take the time and figure this out. It's all mathematical adding and subtracting. That's all it is. It's adding and subtracting. And your cabinet height is always going to be, on a tall cabinet, 84, 87, 90, 93, and 96. Let me see what I got here. Comes after that. Did I do that one? Yes. Okay. So now let me stop my share. So you can see that the cabinet, how it's built, and the sizes of their dimensions are coming from, and how you get your appliance specs. You go on to your appliance company that the customer is picking out, and you get their cutout or specs. And that's what you need. So in order to do a kitchen, you need your appliance specs, and that's going to tell you where to put the plug. It's going to tell you where, the depth of the appliance necessary. You might need to increase the depth of those cabinets to be 25 inches deep. And in the case of the inset, where you want it to have that inset look, you have to do it at almost 26 inches deep, because you got to make sure you can plug these appliances in. So understanding what happens to that appliance during putting it in and getting it into the cabinet, we have to look at it logically. How are they getting it in there? What kind of cabinet surrounds it? Okay, so that's getting that understanding. And the toe kick area, like I said, can be 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5. And if you have ADA, toe kicks are 9 inches high. So you need to call out that only if it's higher. If you need ADA, then you start calling everything out, because that's not standard. That would be customization, or maybe some cabinet lines offer a handicapped accessible, ADA wheelchair compatible pre-built cabinetry, or it could be part of their offering. But the typical toe kick, and you could see in that one example that it's adjustable. Okay, so you might be able to adjust it to even 5 inches. So it's 4, 4.5, 4 3/4. So you want to stay away from that, specifying that dimension. But the one dimension that does not change is the overall box height goes to 34.5. That's the dimension. Then you're putting on countertop material on top of that, which is 2 cm, 3 cm, 1.25 inches. Some people are building it up to 2 inches, which can be rather tall, and how that affects your appliances, making sure they can get adjusted up that extra 3/4 of an inch. You want to make sure your appliances all fit in properly with that taller, thicker countertop material. I don't always agree with that material by the sink and everything, but to each his own. So 34.5. Wall cabinets are mounted on the bottom at 54 inches above the finished floor. So if you go into a kitchen and the wall cabinets are hung, make sure you just take a tape measure and say those are 54 off the floor to the bottom. You're good to go. And then your heights are increments of 3. So that's my little spiel today about the tall cabinets. I just wanted to reiterate that if those very critical information, the accessories that go in it are, simple rollouts, adjustable shelves, and pantry cabinets, which are kind of like a swing out combo things, which kind of go on the door, and this, that, and the other thing. So there are many options. And if you're a designer and you're not familiar with cabinetry, you need a book. You need to get a technical book so you can see the type of cabinetry that's available as a standard cabinet. And you're just picking it out of the book, and you go, it's got 3 drawers on the bottom. It's got 4 drawers on the bottom. It's got doors on the bottom. It's got doors on the top. It's tall on the bottom, tall on the top. You can pick it already from a catalog, not then you customize it. That's not telling you the wood. And then as a designer, we pick the door style, you pick the wood, but the box itself, because cabinetry is 2 things. It's a box and then it's the door. Okay. 2 components that vary. That the box is one price, and the door that you put on it varies in price. So that's where the customization and the pricing and everything goes. It's in the door style, the wood, the finish, the color. But the box is one thing, and the door and the drawer fronts are another thing. So they're 2 different items. So we're starting with the box, always with the box, and then we add the doors. Okay, so I hope that was a little bit of a good explanation for what's a drawer, what's a door, just getting that concept of how does an appliance go into the cabinet. Unless you've really done it before and you're sitting there watching an installation. I mean, not many people do their own kitchen, and if they do, well, you're an interior decorator, or you're a stylist, or you have good taste, whatever. You want to learn more about kitchens and sound like you know what you're talking about. If you're going to do it, learn something about it. If you want to be respected, know what you're talking about. If you want to have confidence, know what you're talking about. And there's really no place to learn this kind of stuff unless you start to go to cabinet touring and stuff like that. But I've done it. I've had it many tours. I've been in the business for over 30 years. So I've seen it, done it, lived it, the good and the bad and the ugly. So I'm here to teach because I know there's nowhere to really learn this kind of stuff. And that's really my goal, is to teach designers and newer kitchen designers, interior designers, about the kitchen and bath business. So we can all sound professional, be professional, and work better together with our trades. Because as a designer, sometimes we can get kicked around, and I don't like getting kicked around. I don't do it well, and I don't fight nicely if you come after me. So I like to know what I'm talking about, which makes me think, gee, don't you want to know what you're talking about? So that's what I do. My next class that's coming up, I haven't really advertised it or anything. Go onto my website. It's going to be all about the cabinet standards, and it talks about the wood, the doors, the drawer fronts, the hinges, the construction. Like, people say, what's better, furniture board or plywood or MDF? And it's like, those are 3 different animals, and they have 3 different purposes. So it's a complicated answer. That's why I go and break it down so that you can really understand the fundamentals of what kitchen cabinetry is, how it translates into all our furniture, because every piece of furniture is basically cabinetry, and cabinetry is built a certain way. There are certain measurements for a credenza. A credenza is typically 34 and 30 inches high, whatever, 32 inches high, 18 inches deep. Like, those are standard measurements. A table is 66 by 44. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are certain measurements in those rooms. It's the same thing with kitchens, only much more technical. It gets a little more technical, the width, the height, the depth. So I love the technical end of interior design, whether it's picking out a light fixture or figuring out a chair, which is better off the floor, which has a better seat length in the seat. So the same thing translates to kitchen cabinetry. And the more you understand about it, the more comfortable you are to be able to design. And once you understand it, that's when you can really start to manipulate and build and customize cabinetry in a way that's feasible and buildable, and you'll understand, and that will help you to create. I love to create one of a kind pieces based on cabinetry, kitchen cabinetry. Any kitchen cabinetry company can build. I mean, I've made a credenza out of kitchen cabinetry because I ordered a bank of wall cabinets with no, as wall cabinets, and put them on legs. So ordered really cool mounting system from Hafele, put together a wall custom cabinet like this, or a base, whatever it was. Maybe it had drawers and doors. I customized everything. I got fancy hardware on it, put a leather top on it. Bam. Who made it? My cabinet company. That's all, because I put cabinets together. So once you understand the method of construction, the how it's made, what it really looks like, and how it's going to function in real life, that's when your creative juices will flow. So the next class is February 22nd, 11:30 in the morning, 2 hours, 2 CEUs, $200. So the second, on February 22nd at 11:30, from 11:30 to 1:30. AlisonSolar.com. I'll put it up. It's all about the cabinetry and the woods and the doors and the drawers, and just break it down, modifications. It's very, very you're going to walk out of there with so much knowledge that you will be so pleased that you took that course. It's probably one of my most exciting courses that I put together, because I love to talk tech with Alison. So we're talking tech Thursday, the 22nd at 11:30. All right, 2 CEUs. I'll send out the invite. Thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful. I love teaching. It's a great thing to be able to help designers learn and understand, so that you can become better and better and better. And that's what I'm here for. Okay, I'll talk to you guys soon.